our lovely Sadhguru has a quote that pretty much explains why being yourself is awesome, as we learn with the inner growth mindset and IHP content. Because, as we also learned before I get to Sadhguru from Terry Real and all the other great trauma experts and therapists that I learned from, healthy self-worth is when you're not in any superiority or inferiority complex, which is instead a I forget what do they call it, but it's not healthy self-worth. So healthy self-worth and the fact that you can breathe and know you live, straightforward. However, to have that feeling of, oh, I feel free to breathe, actually is equal to you achieving secure attachment in your body. So yes, yoga can help, but it's because it's a bunch of ventral vagal nervous system toning exercises that help you to learn how to harness what is already in your body as a mammal. But nobody that does the little mantles of yoga really knows this, which is where our 4D collective does not remember who they are. They keep thinking they're star babies, which we all are, but technically we're all human babies. And so I love to translate Sadhguru. He's our lovely spirituality guru, and I'm the human translator. So when he talks about anything, I'm like, whoa, I learned that from my trauma experts. Oh, look, I learned that from the psychology experts over there. And yeah, wait, here's my mind experts. Oh, neuroscience. And he always says this, oh, don't bother with the child part. No, it's important. Now, he only says that because, again, he's a spirituality guru, not because he dismisses education. No. Otherwise, he wouldn't have conferences with, like, what was it, Harvard that he's going to have with cognitive entire, like, department. Because, studying, again, I love university, even though I don't go anymore. So I love the neuroscience, biology, consciousness sphere, and field. I know the 4D thinks they're hiding stuff from us. But again, adaptive children who have an inner child that they're not tending to, who want to feel special, I forgot, the codependent types, the martyrs, superiors that want to change the world, and or the I'm going to take care of the world, and if my clairs don't work, I'm going to blame myself because I didn't do the right thing. It's a very unfortunate thing that there's not the awareness that that is our actual infant. Like, you were an infant. I was an infant. The difference, though, is that I actually built a differentiated self. By the time I was 3, I was telling my mother how she does not have the right to spank me. It's my body. And once I got the little spanking, I was like, you know what? I went to make my little suitcase. I didn't leave, obviously, but I said that was not right. But I didn't disrespect her. And that's because when you have healthy self-worth, it's called, I'm not superior to you, and I ain't inferior, and I'm a self and you're a self. Translation here. So let's get to why being yourself is awesome. Everything is awesome. Everyone. Yes. When you feel it here, there's a very specific feeling. When the need to be special is gone, that is when you are unique, said Guru. The significance of life is in its uniqueness. And you would know that if you'll remember that nobody is you. I have an identical twin. She's not me. I'm not her. We have completely different characteristics and personalities. And yes, we have the same values, but so do a lot of people when it comes to being adults, if they can. That's once they get out of the drama land of 3D, which would mean that they don't need an audience. They also do take ownership of everything that they do and speak and interact. They are not oblivious to when somebody is saying something like, this thing and that thing, and so knowing how to converse. And, the whole part about being, let's see, may your decisions be based upon what truly matters and works, not upon your likes and dislikes, said Guru again. Now, when he talks about likes and dislikes, that's the karma that he also mentions in different types of conversations and in his inner engineering course, which if you take, it's really awesome because you learn a lot. So when I took it, I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense because of knowing about trauma memory and childhood trauma and somatics, so the body and how it stores it. And there's also attachment researchers, and how our brain, the organ of us, is an embodied brain. So once you learn that being a human, actually this alignment is, again, restored embodied self. So you have heaven in your body when you integrate your brain, which means you use the left, the chit-chatter, and the right. It's nonverbal, so all the sensations, and here's where you can sit with the unknown. So when you become the person who can be aware of your awareness of your thoughts, and there's a lot of different ways I can explain it, but it's so straightforward. to 5D that I don't think I have to, but we do discuss the psychoeducation in depth sometimes, just not today. So we learn how to be able to handle any relationship with no drama. And then people say that we're emotionless. So the 5D collective is not emotionless. We are actually very deep. We just use our ventral vagal state. And so we won't look in our fight flight. We won't be anxious. We won't be in a charged state, which is not our adult self. Because see, the charged state of people is when their brain is alert, 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 and they're being washed left and right by their nervous system, because your nervous system alerted your brain, because the way the brain works. Let me check out some notes I can share, because I love Daniel Siegel. I'm finishing up my course, Mindsight, and oh my gosh, is he good at explaining how the mind works, the brain, and relationships. And anybody who wants to take the course, it's amazing. But here's where, for those of you who don't, 3 different ways you can train the mind to be focused in its attention, to redirect attention, and to, yes, open itself to monitoring. That's what mindfulness and meditation help you to do. So he talks about Mindsight because he has a way of sharing with people how to do the Mindsight lens. In fact, for the 5D collective, it's pretty straightforward because mindset is everything. And when we're having a subjective experience, we automatically are aware of our awareness without even knowing anything about Daniel Siegel until I began his courses. I was like, wow, since I was a kid, I've known about this, but I talked to other people. They seem to know about it too. So, let me think about, oh yes, taking ownership, as I was saying. So when you meet an adult, a 5D person, they're a Zen master. They're not emotionless. They just don't project the codependent stuff. So when you instead meet people who don't know they're unique all on their own, they have to live a story out. And the whole law of attraction, manifestation, and all what the 4D talks about is a distraction. You're not going to necessarily pick up on your own insecure, in this case, non-secure attachment. And so I have 3 more minutes. What do I want to share with you? Okay, I'm going to share this. The way to your uniqueness, the way to be good here, is you understanding that your attachment system is with you since the beginning of day 1. It does know a second or more of feeling secure. And this is where all of the good trauma and somatic therapists, the good ones, not the ones who tell you to ignore your emotions, because they don't explain to you what your emotions are, that they're an embodied brain, that it's your nervous system with your physical brain, and that you can integrate your brain by actually becoming aware. So explanation is what empowers, not the little call to action titles that only the eyes that say goodbye, so superficial people. And you know what superficial people don't do? They don't actually explore their emotional body, and there's usually a disconnect, which is why then they become victims of those lovely traditional or the culty cults or the ethical cults, because they're looking for the silverback, because they're still insecurely attached within their own physical, it's in the right side of the brain from what I've gathered, attachment system. It's quite straightforward when you listen to learn about how you work, not because you're special, not because you're some baby from wherever. No, you're a human. And there's people who know how to explain how we work. And then there's yoga too, which is awesome. And so you add to your human experience spirituality, and you add to your human experience spiritual metaphysics, esotericism. So the mystic stuff for a 5D mystic is why we know we're not special. We're a random human baby who uses what is called the physical brain. Oh, and we do know it's an anticipatory organ, which is why we're pretty cool with fear. It's okay for me to be afraid. I want to keep living life. So I'm going to be smart about it, and I'm not going to be not vulnerable about it. Now, people who have childhood trauma, very different story. Their first year of life was so terrifying that they had to shut down their emotional body and their seat of empathy. So they will not explore the in-depths, and they will look to the silverback codependent types, which is why learning about being a human is more important than going down the path of, let me go be a shaman first. No, first get the download on how you are as a human. Get to your true self-empowerment, which means that no matter what anybody tells you, you're not going to listen to them. And not because you're going to be a jerkwad. No matter how somebody will manipulate, you'll notice what you feel inside versus feeling obliged to do something. Let me take care of you. Let me change you, which is where people don't realize how that works. So tune in for more. We're running out of time. Maybe I'll make a second. In the meantime, grow your relationships, be compassionate, be kind, educate, empower, and remember, we don't know anybody's experience. Tune in.